to Remastered. There is so much to that title.
There sure is. What's up, everybody? My name is Jaxler, and I'm going to be showing you all Soul Reaver 2 Remastered, specifically the All Reavers run. If you've never heard of this game before, this is from the Legacy of Kain series, which is kind of like peak fiction, like television show writing, but in video game form. This game especially, I like to say that this is the greatest miniseries of all time with a video game attached. As a speedrun, extremely broken. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening on screen right at the start of the run, so apologies in advance. I talk really fast. This category is All Reavers. Any percent takes like 13.5 minutes because of the way you can break this game over your knee. So All Reavers is, think of it as like your Zelda All Dungeons category. We need to go get all of the major Reaver upgrades that you get over the course of a playthrough. And that will cause some complications in a couple of different spots. But time is going to start as soon as the opening cutscene begins. So if we're ready to go, we can just go ahead and hop right into it, and I'll give us a count off. All right.
Yeah. Everything's good on my end.
Let's do this. All right. We'll start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Where am I?
Alright, so he's going to say, "Where am I?" And I'm immediately going to head out this door, and we're going to see a glitch right off of the bat called Time Stop. I'm going to go up to an enemy over here, go into first person, and then target them. This will allow me to trigger a glitch called Time Stop, where I can just start airwalking through walls with no clip. The way that this glitch works is very complicated, and has a bunch of different little things going on that will take me a couple of sections of the run to explain in full. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm using a glitch called the breakout glitch, where when I target an enemy when I'm in first person, it allows me to walk around in first person mode, which is normally not possible in standard gameplay. When you're in that state, you can do some really wacky things. For example, you can sort of give yourself movement over your character during that ring select menu. And while you're in that state, you don't collide with anything. So whenever there's an enemy nearby, or a wall I want to get through, a door I don't want to open, I'm probably going to use this time stop glitch in order to get past it. Essentially, once I get the breakout glitch, I'm double tapping this ring menu, and so the next time I let go of this first person state, it will automatically open that menu while I'm moving, giving me freedom of control. Right there, you just saw me do something called a double crouch jump. This breakout glitch is called such because it allows you to break out of whatever animation you're doing when you exit that first person state. That also includes your crouch jump. So you can do a crouch jump, break out of the animation, and then do another, and it essentially gives you a double jump in a game that was not designed to let you double jump. And with that and time stop, we're already out of the intro way faster than you're supposed to. We also there's a lot. There's probably a way we could skip opening this door, but we're actually opening this here not because we need the door open, but because we want to go grab that soul anchor right there. Those act as checkpoints so that when you die, it'll send you back there, right? And we're going to be exploiting that to cut on a tremendous amount of backtracking that's intended in this game. So right here, we're going to see the other major way I can activate this breakout glitch state, which is by getting into a weird, on a crevice or weird piece of geometry, and then going into first person and firing a projectile with telekinesis. This will cause you to start moving while you're in first person mode, and that will give you freedom of movement control. We're going to use it here and do a crouch jump out of that state in order to get up here. And now we're going to start moving. So this is going to look a little bit more normal for a bit. You're going to be seeing me...
normal.
Yes, this is mostly normal looking for a second. You're going to see me jump a good bit whenever I'm not doing some other form of movement tag or glitch. Jumping is generally the fastest way to get around. There is technically a faster way of getting around called the stutter step glitch. That is not currently allowed on the leaderboards, although I'm praying for the day that gets changed because it looks really funny. If I have to load a save, which would invalidate my run, I will start doing the stutter step just because, for one, it's faster by about 14% than just jumping around, movement speed wise, but it also just looks so funny. Right here, we're going to do another double crouch jump to skip going around this bridge. And then something you'll see a lot in this run is I do these little mini time stop through walls just to sort of corner cut. and avoid having to take some of these like longer tunnels. We're gonna do something we do a lot called a door jump. We call it that because we use it to jump through doors. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm priming that time stop glitch to activate, and then I jump and then let go of the breakout glitch, so that I'm sort of sailing through the air in this no-clip state. Normally when you're like airwalking like I've been doing, and you'll see me do again in a sec, once you jump for the first time in time stop, floors will stop existing for you, period. And usually that is a death sentence. But if you do this door jump technique, then it will actually allow you to cancel it in midair, which is normally otherwise not possible. So like right here, for example, we'll just do a standard time stop walk just to get through a U-shaped corridor. And then where we're heading right now is to the first of our Reavers. Even though, as you can already see, this game is incredibly busted, we pretty much have to go get all of the Reavers in order for routing purposes. So we're headed to the Dark Reaver first. We're going to do another door jump right here. You'll notice that everything looks kind of spooky and purple. One of the cool mechanics about the Soul Reaver games is that you can phase between the material and spectral realms. We did it on purpose there because it actually reveals some stairs that are not there in the material realm. Oh, that could have been so bad. So you actually saw right there the world unloaded. And the reason for that is because this game has like no loading screens, period. The way they accomplish this is by loading segments of areas in chunks, and once you cross over a loading trigger or threshold, it'll cause the next segment to load in properly. So if you skip a loading trigger that you're not supposed to, the next area won't load. So I actually had to go walk backwards a bit so that I could proceed forward. And that's something that'll come into play in a couple of different spots when I'm doing time stop later on. There's a whole lot that goes into all of that jazz. So essentially what we're doing is we're making our way straight to the Dark Reaver, which is the first Reaver that you get in casual play as well. So we're going to do another one of these time stop walks here, and then you're going to see kind of a time stop jump, one of those door jumps, but I'm going to hold it for a bit. Whenever you're doing one of these, you just gradually start building speed as you fall. So you go flying forward, and this is also going to put me out of bounds underneath the floor where there is still water for me to actually swim through. And so we're going to make use of that. So hopefully if I do this right, I can actually stay out of bounds here and swim straight up this tunnel and avoid some of the run around here. I think I got it? Not quite. Okay, so we're going to have to swim back down. So this is what can happen sometimes when you, especially if you go out of bounds and you don't hit the triggers in the proper order, things just won't load. And then if you try to go even further than that, most of the time, you're cooked. All right, so we're going to attempt to skip a ton of like the U-shaped corridor syndrome this game has by doing a very difficult double crouch jump. I'm going to need a little bit of focus time here because this is very precise. Give me just 1 second. I look for a visual cue to do my first jump. Should be good. Nice, we get the ledge grab. That gets us up here, skipping a pretty major section and a bunch of cutscenes. We're then going to use that ledge to do a telekinesis blast to get breakout so we can time stop through this door. Something I've been doing a lot here on purpose is avoiding those other soul anchors. Whenever you're in time stop, it actually causes like all actors, including load zones, to just not function. So cutscenes won't play, and those checkpoints won't trigger. So this is actually allowing me to avoid checkpoints. And you'll remember I have that checkpoint that I set all the way when I turn that water wheel right at the start of the run. That's going to be, keep that in the back of your head. It's going to come up in a little bit. So right here, this is maybe the most unusual breakout spot. We just stand on top of that torch and hold down the first person button, and it just gives us the breakout glitch for free. It's kind of awesome. And we use it to do a double crouch jump. We're in the Dark Forge now, and this, you can kind of think of these Reaver forges as like your Zelda dungeons. We just skipped about half of the first dungeon by doing that, and then we're going to skip the rest of it. This is the one instance with time stop that you actually want to not load everything in properly. This is preventing a cutscene, a massive cutscene that will drag me into a checkpoint. And it still lets me go through here because this dungeon area is structured very unusually compared to the rest of the game. I can actually kind of get away with unloading things and getting over here, and everything will work properly. Then with a double crouch jump through that hole that's normally an exit, not an entrance, That will allow us to get up here and solve this puzzle, basically skipping the entire first dungeon of the game. Again, you can kind of think of this as a Zelda game turned HBO miniseries type of situation, and this will get us access to the Dark Reaver. So these Reavers will essentially augment this plasma weapon I got with elemental energy. There's a couple we're going to use for specific spots, but this is kind of the completionist category that this game has, if that makes sense. And now what we're going to do is intentionally go into the spectral realm. There's going to be a couple of enemies that spawn here. I'm going to smack one of them, hold crouch, and target, and he's going to beat the daylights out of him. This is on purpose. This is not, I'm not going to do the bit where it's like, oh no, he's hitting me, I'm dying, oh no, I messed up. Everyone's heard that bit before. What this is going to do is return me to that soul anchor that I set up way at the start of the run. And essentially, all of that area I just got through to get to the Dark Reaver, I would have had to go all the way back through all of that, but in reverse. And you might be able to imagine how long that would take. So by doing that death warp and skipping all those checkpoints, we save a boatload of time over what you're intended to do. And with another time stop glitch, we can actually break into the Light Forge here and skip a little cutscene here as well. Something you'll see me do here as well, we're going to be activating the Dark Reaver for the first time. It's used in a couple of spots just to open up some blocks and allow us to solve the puzzle. We basically skip straight from the first dungeon right to the second dungeon, for lack of a better analog. But what I'm going to do here, there's going to be this little elemental that pops out of the Reaver font here, and I'm going to target him and get Breakout while I'm killing him, so that as soon as I get the Dark Reaver, I can do another Breakout jump, and then after that, we'll be doing a time stop to skip another checkpoint before we're kind of like in the dungeon entry still. But we're going to skip another checkpoint proper here. And then I'm going to be kind of just doing a little bit of movement here, so if we've got time for a quick message, I would love to hear it.
Sure.
Yeah, if you're not too overwhelmed.
You tried to warn me. I did not listen. Anyway. Hi everybody. Just a reminder that we are raising money for Point of Pride. Point of Pride is a trans-led and 501c3 nonprofit organization, and they have served tens of thousands of people in all 50 states and over 100 countries by providing access to gender-affirming health and wellness services. They are currently celebrating their 10-year anniversary, and in that time, they have raised nearly $6 million USD in support of their mission. And you can check out more about them by typing !point charity into the chat.
The way that the Light Forge works is that there's these same like mirror shields that we used in the Dark Forge to skip most of it. There's two of them that we need to set up in order to activate the Light Forge and get the Light Reaver. You're supposed to push a block and use like a light beam. It's like the Spirit Temple from Ocarina of Time. You're supposed to use these light beams to activate things. And open that door, but again, we can just clip through things in this game because glitches. We're gonna put down the first one here, and then because of the order in which I'm doing things, and breaking the intended order, this actually allows me to move around a little bit during this cutscene. So I can actually get up on here, do another breakout glitch, and we're gonna skip basically most of the dungeon. So I have to do a pretty tricky breakout here. It's really easy to fall off and have to do this over again. And we're going to do time stop, and it's going to look like I'm just doing a leap of faith here. But then the world will load back in, I reach this tunnel, and I skip like the entire right side of the dungeon, and a ton of puzzles by doing that. So we're going to go ahead and take care of this guy. My hits are not coming through all the way, all the time. Combat in this game is sometimes strange. We try to avoid combat whenever possible. A lot of times these little time stops I'm doing are actually preventing like fights or needing to do fights or preventing some enemies from spawning as well. But we go ahead and do that mirror right here. And then we're going to open this door. And this is going to allow us to take this like keystone thing from this very back room and then bring it all the way here. It's worth noting as well, you're intended to get into this dungeon area in the spectral realm. And whenever you go from spectral to material and back, you lose whatever elemental reaver you have equipped, and you have to go re-equip it. So by doing that time stop as well, I actually preserve having the Dark Reaver here, and part of the puzzle of this dungeon is figuring out how to get the Dark Reaver into some of those spots. So we're going to use the Dark Reaver here. There's like an eyeball thing that will laser you. That's in this cutscene that we're skipping. Goodbye, my friend. But by using the Dark Reaver, of course, because darkness prevents vision, I'm going to actually step back here and redo that because I didn't quite get there in time. That's a little sad that I missed that, but we're going to go ahead and grab that because obviously if you hit a statue with darkness, the eye will roll into the back of its head. That's totally how that works.
Yeah, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah, so we're going to be jumping here for a good bit. I will let you all know as well, like I said, I talk really fast. So if y'all are in the chat and have any questions about any of the stuff I'm doing, or even just need me to re-explain something that I might have glossed over, please let me know. There's a lot going on, and I would always appreciate the opportunity to talk about more about this game or whatever I'm playing, honestly. Or maybe our lovely host has some questions, or even just like, I don't know. I warned you this would be ridiculous.
You did warn me. And unfortunately, like, just the rush of watching this has sort of like let surface the thought that if we had had a Bionicle game that looked like this, we would be living in the solarpunk future by now.
Oh my goodness. There's some good Bionicle games out there though. There's
I've
Bionicle game for
of
the
them.
GameCube. That game is heat. I haven't finished that game yet, but I need to.
Anyway, if you've still got the time, you mind if I check in on the Bid Wars?
Yeah, go for it. How are our incentives doing?
So, we have 3 incentives open right now. The first one is to defeat Mecha Hitler. Now, this one's fun because it's not a static goal. Every $25 donated to defeat Mecha Hitler gets a new Mecha Hitler kill. We are currently at 8 Mecha Hitlers, if I'm doing my math correctly. So that's going to be during the Wolfenstein 3D run coming up in a little bit. And then, I believe after that, nope, right before that is actually Final Fantasy Free Enterprise. We have 2 different bid wars you can bid on for that. One is between the Harp Song, which is Cats is currently in the lead with a commanding $260 over Bees. And I am excited to learn what either of those means. The other one is the Zeroma sprite, at which we have Oatfish and Arrogant with... Oh, excuse me, Ofish. That makes much more sense. So Ofish Zeromus is currently in the lead.
Please, y'all have the opportunity to do the funniest thing. I want to see how many times we can destroy Mecha Hitler. That would be just the funniest thing of all time. But also, thank you all for your support of that in advance. So kind of back to what we're doing right now. We got the Light and Dark Reavers now, so now we need to go time travel because, of course. In order to do that, we had to head back to the Seraphan Tomb. So the Seraphan Stronghold. Seraphan Tomb is the first game, sorry. Got my lore wrong. So we're going to go ahead and charge up the Light Reaver here. I'm going to jump through this door because I can. And we're going to use it to hit this crystal. This will activate a cutscene. And during the cutscene, we'll warp through time. Because time travel... What's a good Zelda-like without time travel, am I right? So in this era, our goal is to get the Air Reaver. And the Air Reaver, it's a pretty long process to get to the Air Forge in the first place, let alone. So whenever we, like, travel through time, we're going through kind of the same areas, but there'll be some slight differences. Like, certain, like, passageways will be available versus unavailable. Like, certain things will be destroyed. Because stuff happens when time passes, right? I will warn as well, there's a couple of spots here in this next section, like, right up after this door, where some lightning bolts will flash whenever enemies spawn in. So for those who are photosensitive, like right now, I would look away. I'll let you know when it is good. Should be here in a second, and then I'll let you know when it's passed. For those who can't see what I'm doing, I'm going to be skipping this fight by doing a quick little time stop through the barrier that's supposed to make you fight those extremely dangerous enemies, and then I'm just going to jump right through and make my way out of here. Okay, we should be clear of the flashing lights warning. Sorry about that. Sorry I wasn't a little more ready to disclose that one. But what I'm doing here is I'm leading these enemies over here and then opening the door. I could door jump through it, but I actually want to do it like this because the enemies are still there on the other side of the door. So I can actually get the breakout glitch through the door, allowing me to get another time stop. This is going to skip another fight in a pretty long... It's not a U-shape this time. I think it's like an L shaped hallway. It's worth noting as well that at this point in the run that we're at, the any % run would have been here within like the first minute. As you can tell, if you can get out of bounds and do stuff like that, then, you know, surely you can use the thing to travel back through time, like, instantly, right? Totally. And so we're going to be kind of walking through the same spot again here. There is a trick I would normally... There might be a shot where I can try going for it at least once safely. Maybe not towards the end of the run, but I'll try to describe what it is. It's a pretty recent development called floor surfing. So... You'll notice that floors don't collide with me whenever I'm in the time stop state. If you use time stop and line it up such that like you are like clipped halfway, basically like the bottom of your rib cage is like kind of like on top of the surface of the floor or the hill, you'll get like stuck in the floor and it'll start converting your falling speed into horizontal speed along the surface that you have clipped yourself into. And so there's two ways of doing it. You can kind of walk yourself with time stop into a hill, or you can do the extremely difficult method, which is to do one of those door jumps and then nail the timing to cancel out a time stop as you're falling through the floor, which is extremely dangerous. In general, a lot of these time stop strats can be very dangerous if not done properly or safely, because if you fall through the void, there is no mechanism in this game for you to void out. So if you fall too far out of bounds and you can't recover it, you're cooked. Which is why I have a bunch of safety saves prepared. Because marathon totally wouldn't happen, right? Totally not. So there's going to be this big dude here. I actually opened the door on purpose there because watching the cutscene and then skipping it teleports me a bit further through that area and also puts me in the spectral realm where I need to be anyway. We're going to go ahead and do that exact same time stop walk that we did. And then we're just going to keep on keeping on. There's another little soul anchor right there that isn't that hard to avoid. I just need to go to the left of it. But we're actually not quite concerned about the checkpoints just yet. There is a checkpoint that we're going to grab. Basically, once we get back into that swamp that you saw me at when we got the Dark Reaver, once we get to there, I'm going to be grabbing a very crucial checkpoint. And then from there, we'll need to start worrying about checkpoints and some of the really difficult like, if any of the stuff you thought I've done so far, especially in the Light Forge, looked difficult, it's about to get worse. There's even more ridiculous stuff coming up. Another little fight skip here. A lot of times you'll see me actually do, in situations where enemies are very close, I'll actually do mini time stop walks instead of the door jump. Because if an enemy hits you, it will trigger your time stop early. And if you happen to be airborne and you're not ready for it, it can cause you to fall through the floor and spell instant doom for your run like I was describing earlier, right? So you gotta be a little careful, especially as the run progresses. It'll spawn more and more dangerous enemies with bigger hitboxes that are harder to kite and manipulate, right? So you gotta be really, really careful there. And then right here, as we continue to go through this tunnel, you'll kind of notice that the water level decreases every time we sort of change eras. And so that'll come into play here too. You're gonna see me do that long fall strat again. Whee! And then we go, boom, underneath the floor. And we're actually going to pop out a little bit earlier because we're going to have to do some actual parkour and climbing because the water level isn't high enough for us to do what we want to do here. So now we're back inbounds, and then I'm going to go for kind of a tricky strat where I jump out of the water and get the ledge and skip another U-shaped platforming section. I get the breakout glitch off of this guy, and I'm going to do some, I'm going to do a jump, run a little bit forward with the coyote time, and then do another jump. This will let me skip grabbing the Dark Reaver and using it to make a dark bridge, which is kind of like, it's, all of the Reavers have different things they can do to interact with the environment, and the Dark Reaver can make dark bridges, but then you have to go and find the Dark Reaver font in order to set that up, and that's really slow. Okay, so now that we've climbed up here, we're going to get this checkpoint right here. This is the one we'll be warping back to later. I'm going to go ahead and grab the breakout glitch, and I actually have to do that trick again that I did on my way to the the Dark Reaver, because even though you don't really use this path during this part casually, it's still usable to skip this section. Okay, we're 2 for 2. Nice. Like I said, that's a really, really difficult strat. I want to give a huge shout out to Tex, who found that setup that I used. There's been a lot of activity with Soul Reaver 2 speedrunning, as well as this category specifically lately. So I want to give a shout out to like Tex, as well as people like Crispy Taco, Nasternus, and Pyrociter Watts, who have been finding a ton of cool stuff with this game lately. It's been really, really fun to be a part of. Okay, so we're going to do a double crouch jump just because climbing up these walls is pretty slow. And then this is the part where I have to be very mindful about skipping checkpoints. So right here, there's going to be a bit of a slope that I can use to set up the breakout glitch. We're going to get time stop and go through this floor so that we can skip that checkpoint right there. That checkpoint, not too bad to skip. There's going to be another one coming up later that is a nightmare and is by far a contributor to what is considered widely to be the hardest trick in the game that like you need to do, like not including like, you know, floor surfing and things of that nature, which are like so high risk, high reward that they're, you know, we're not doing them yet. Not like tasks only, because like in theory you could get good at them, but you understand, you get what I'm putting down, right? We have a little bit before I get to that point though, so we've got time for a quick message here if you'd like to step in.
Well, first I wanted to ask you a question that was asked in chat a few minutes ago now. What's your favorite music in this game?
Oh, in this game? This game, I'm not sure. I know my favorite in the series is Ozar Midrashim, which is kind of like the main theme from Soul Reaver 1. That goes hard. I really like some of the ambient stuff when you're in the spectral realm, in certain like areas where there isn't like any enemies going on. Like once we get the Air Reaver and take that warp back, some of that music that you'll hear there after we travel through time, that music's really cool. Okay, here's comes the trick. I'll explain it after the fact, you know, assuming I get it first try. If not, I have a backup safety save. Let me focus for a second. A little low, but we can make this work. Okay, I'm gonna get close here. We got it, nice, okay. So what I did there is a giant radius for the trigger that activates that checkpoint, as well as a cutscene that will pull you into that checkpoint. That's called the Janos checkpoint cutscene skip. And I'm gonna have to do it a second time actually, because not in this era of time, but we'll be coming back here later for the Fire Forge, which is kind of in that lake area that we crossed through. So we're 1 for 2 on that. That's really, really good. That's a really, really tough strat. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm getting right next up to the loading trigger, canceling time stop, and then jumping at a very specific diagonal angle to force the Janos Lake area to load in properly without hitting any cutscenes. And it's going to be harder the second time because the cutscene trigger is bigger the second time. Why? Who knows? And that was also a goal. That was excellent. Awesome. So we have made it to the Air Forge. This is huge for us. What we're going to do is we're going to open this door first, and then I'm going to get kind of a funky breakout glitch where I'm kind of there are some like corners, stairs, weird pieces of geometry that like don't behave super well when Raziel is standing next to it. So like right here, if I can get the spot, he'll just kind of slip off of that slope right there, even though he's not technically standing on it, because of kind of how the movement and positioning code is implemented. Deceptively tricky jump right there, where you have to maintain the breakout glitch while you're platforming. And that also, right here, we're doing a big time stop. This avoids spawning in a very nasty fight that is pretty difficult to skip, even with time stop. We do a big jump, and that gets us all the way down here. That's one of my favorite new strats. I forget who found that, but it's fire. So the way that the Air Forge works is that there's these 3 different sections with these, like, jeweled hearts in them that we need to grab. And this first one is going to be the first and last time we see a very new glitch in Soul Reaver 2 called the triple jump. I'm going to try to set this up quickly, and then I will, again, explain after the fact. Okay, stored. So how on earth did I just get a triple jump? You'll know that I just kind of walked off the ledge and I just got a huge momentum boost. I was essentially doing the inputs for one of those door jumps, one of those like time stop jumps that I've been doing all the time. But I interrupted it by doing the breakout glitch during a very specific part of Raziel's jump animation. This basically puts him in a state where his jump is stored. So the next time he walks off of a ledge, it releases that stored momentum. And that also lets you remain in a running animation. So you can jump out of it. And then you still have breakout. So you can do another jump out of it. And that skips that entire section. This entire dungeon area has like these 3 wings to it. And so that let us skip all the puzzles in that wing in specific, while also maintaining this light Reaver. The game expects you to have different, like, equipment on your Reaver. Hold on a second. I just want the splits to be accurate. My auto split triggered again. But there we go. Okay. So, first heart done. That's the trickiest one. You're going to see me get breakout here. It's going to look a little strange as to why, but essentially, this wing gust here that spawns doesn't get me all the way up to the top of this ledge, and that lets me skip climbing the wall and the ledge grab. As far as movement is concerned, you want to try to skip ledge grabs as much as possible, because you can't move until the animation is over, right? So it's just wasted time. Now this section right here is normally a really, like, to me this puzzle was really annoying casually, but you can just jump on this slope, you'll get a ledge grab, and by holding down the first person button, you just get the breakout gate glitch automatically, and then you fire the light Reaver at the jewel and hit it, right, Jaxler? You fire it at the jewel and hit it. Thank you. Good job, Jaxler. So this is going to get us the green heart, and again, a lot of the sort of the intent behind the puzzles in this sections is that you need to use like the dark Reaver or some other way that isn't the light Reaver to access a lot of these sections. So by getting up to that platform with the light Reaver, we can just not interact with any of the puzzle in that room, period. And nowhere will that be more apparent than in the section where you can't actually, for this last heart, typically open the door without the dark Reaver equipped, because an enemy will spawn that you have to kill in order to open the door with the Reaver, and it doesn't spawn unless you have the dark Reaver equipped. So we'll need to click through it, and by having it, period, because you're intended to get the light Reaver in like the back of the room, and then bring it to the front of the room. But if you enter the room, which is the front of the room, with the light Reaver, you're good. You don't even need to worry about it. You're just done with the room, essentially. At least on the way in. So, we're going to be doing that pretty much exactly, and then I have to do a couple of time stops on the way out here. I get it on that ledge right here because there's not going to be an enemy to spawn in for me to get the breakout glitch off of. So I need to do it off of that ledge. You can also do it off of the elemental that spawns from the dark fountain down there. But you have to take a wide turn for him to spawn in properly, so I find it a bit more convenient to use that ledge, for example. But yeah, as you'll see here in a second, that door it was panning over to in the camera, you're supposed to be equipped with the Dark Reaver right now. But because we're not, we can just jump all the way up here and do the puzzle as intended, technically, which is to do that glide. But you're not supposed to have the Light Reaver there, even remotely. Awesome video game, eh? So this is going to be our third and last heart, and we're going to take that with us here. Turn around, and then I actually have to do a extra time stop here on the way back, because there is a cutscene that plays with that marble eyeball. And what I'm actually going to do here is put down the heart and pick it back up, because enemies won't spawn when you're carrying like an important item like this, or like those mirror shields we were using earlier. So by putting it down, it spawns in the enemy, so I can get the breakout glitch, and then I can pick it back up before it disappears. Oh my goodness graciousness. Wow, that's really bad. Okay, so I jumped, and that unfortunately means that this run is no longer valid. Okay, so here is what we are going to do. I should have a save file like here-ish, right? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we were basically done with that section, and we're going to go get the Air Reaver and just grabbing that. So what we're going to do is we're going to proceed from basically after the time travel, after we would have death warped back here. So we, unfortunately, that's a really annoying way to lose a run. But hey, this is why we have backup saves, right? So technically, I'm going to be a little further ahead of where I'm supposed to be. But you will just have to, you'll just have to level with me here, y'all. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Let me go ahead and just kind of catch myself up. Okay. Sorry about that.
So what you're
y'all.
saying is that out of bounds was not intentional.
No, it was. I just wasn't. This is what I was talking about, where you're not supposed to jump, right? Because if you jump, you can't cancel out a time stop and you're doomed.
Gotcha.
That was a little unfortunate, but hey, it happens. What this does mean, though, is that now that the run is dead, and I was on PB pace, now I feel comfortable going for floor zips. So this is what a floor zip looks like. And you can get some zoomies out of them. You can get some real zoomies out of them, alright? So now that the run is where it's at, there's a lot more on the table. I'm going for it. I don't care anymore.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, we just went from speedrun to showcase.
So somebody asked how jumping is illegal. It's not that jumping is illegal. It's just that, that means I can also stutter step now. So this is what I was talking about, by the way, because this run is no longer valid, I can do the stutter step movement now. So if you use the D-pad to move around, and just tap forward in a rhythm, it is faster than just jumping around. Yeah, basically, I soft locked myself, and I did not have a save that would have let me continue from that part in particular, because this sounds weird to say, but that kind of thing never happens. Basically, I rushed the input to cancel out of it, or something else of that nature weird happened. So again, my bad, y'all. But it's all right. Isn't this the month of Be Gay, Do Crimes? Let's do crimes against the leaderboard rules. Why not? Let's load a save and just keep going. And I can do the stutter step movement as well, where you just tap forward.
Your surroundings, parentheses, speedrun.com.
Oh, yeah. And we can also floor surf. Oh, I didn't get a very long floor surf there. It's worth noting as well, the reason why I wasn't even attempting those floor surfs, right, is if you mess them up, you fall through the floor like I did in the Air Forge, and you're doomed. Which is why they are so high risk, high reward, because, as you see, they give you a lot of speed. But, if you mess them up or don't control your movement properly, you're cooked. So right here, we have to do that same strat again. Where we have to avoid the checkpoint going into the exterior to Janos Aldrin's domain. But again, this time it's harder, because the cutscene trigger, for whatever reason, is bigger. Why? I don't know. Let's see if I can hit this, though. And the nice thing is, because the run is already invalid, I can just load my backup save, and I have as many tries at this as I need to without the same level of pressure. Oh, and we just nailed the first try. Nice. Okay. So I swapped over to using that same setup for both uses of that glitch, or that trick, essentially. And that's really been helping me. That version of it is probably by far the thing that kills runs the most. If you miss that trick, the run is over, because of how much time missing that, getting that extra checkpoint and missing the backtrack will cost you. So we have now made our way into Janos Aldrin's lair. You might be wondering, who is Janos Aldrin? I don't have the time to explain to you that. What you need to know is that this kind of serves as the dungeon right, in front of the Fireforge. There'll be a little stuff we need to do in the Fireforge, but for all intents and purposes, this is the Fireforge dungeon. So there's a lot of puzzles here around putting this, vampire blood into these vessels, and then transporting these vessels into other cauldrons in order to create pathways and get around. But we just skipped that entire first room, just like that. And now we are going to, there's kind of this, I think this is a U shape, maybe even an O shape. I don't know what letters we're going with at this point. But this next section in particular, the second puzzle section in Janos Aldrin's lair, is really, really tough. This is going to be where we're going to see some more platforming uses of stuff like the breakout glitch and time stop and all that jazz. We're going to start by getting onto some out-of-bounds geometry by using a couple of breakout glitches. So we're going to do one right up here. Get myself into the corner. and then shoot projectiles so that you'll see he kind of like almost gets lifted off the ground while he's doing that. And then I'm gonna grab this ledge in such a way that the wall it gives me the ledge grab, but the wall pushes me off, giving me the breakout glitch. Then I'm gonna get up here. I need a very specific spot. 3, 4, 5. Running double crouch jump. I'm trying to grab a ledge right there, which will clip me into that wall. That ledge is not supposed to be grabbable. I mean, none of this is supposed to be grabbable because I'm not even supposed to be up here, right? But if I do that right and hopefully get breakout glitch once I'm up there, this will essentially allow us to skip this entire section, which if you played this game should kind of blow you away and or make you a little mad, just because of the sheer amount of pain and agony that this puzzle puts people through. This is pretty tricky though, so I should probably shut up and hit this trick. Come on, Raz, grab the ball.
You want focus time, or can we have some
quick focus time.
Gotcha.
This should work. Yep, okay, we got breakout. And then all we need is a running double crouch jump, and we're there. There we go. Okay, we made it. So, you see all that down there? That's what we climbed up. That's what we skipped. It saves minutes, even with all those reattempts at the trick. So we are very specifically in Spectral Realm right now, because a cutscene will not play once I clip through this door right here. Extremely, extremely important. We want to avoid a specific cutscene from playing, because even though there's no, like, soul anchor there, it will force a checkpoint, which will kill our backtrack for later. So by being in the Spectral Realm here, and by doing a very precise wedge into this wall, it will trigger this cutscene in the Spectral Realm, which for whatever reason will prevent the checkpoint from properly being set, which will allow us to get into the Fire Forge, preserving our checkpoint. So now we've got our checkpoint taken care of, which is really good. That whole sequence is pretty tough. Now we need to actually get the Fire Reaver from the Fire Forge. So what we're going to do is we're going to light this torch and just kind of jump across here the normal way by lighting this fire right here. Excuse me. And then we're going to jump across these platforms. I'm going to light the brazier, and then from there I have to do maybe the most annoying breakout glitch setup in the entire game, so that I can hopefully skip the rest of the puzzles required for this section. You're required to switch Reaver elements a lot. It's really annoying. So I have to... Oop. Almost got it. I have to get, very precise position, hold still, and then shoot. And then hopefully this will give me breakout glitch. There we go. Okay, so we got the breakout. Now we need to go jump over here, grab this ledge, and then get in close enough range so I can actually grab the dang torch. We need to go light the Fire Forge, and you're supposed to take it back and forth over the course of this room, but with another double breakout jump. There we go. And we just skipped the entire back half of the Fire Forge just like that. Alright, so this is actually a glitch that I found, surprisingly enough, by accident when I was like messing around and practicing some stuff. Which is called, well, we don't really have a proper name for it. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm interrupting the transition from spectral to material with the breakout glitch, and then repressing the button that goes from spectral to material. This puts me back in the material plane, but with the properties of Spectral Raziel. Meaning that for this death warp here, I can actually use enemies from the material well in order to die faster. And it's basically cutting my health bar in half, because you have your health bar in the material realm, and then when you run out of health in the material realm, you automatically change to the spectral realm. If we're in the spectral realm already, getting beat up by these Seraphim, we just immediately die and get set back to our checkpoint if they'll decide to cooperate. There we go. And so this is going to take us all the way back to the swamp. Oh, nope, it's going to crash the game. That's fine. I should have a way around this.
Ooh.
That's a new one. Huh. Let's see what I don't have access to. Oh, we can just use the Fireforge one I have here. I don't know where this is gonna. Oh, I made a save here though. This will be interesting. Let's see where this puts us. We have gone completely off the rails. I'm gonna try to set this up and attempt the death warp again, and hopefully this save the sort of manipulated checkpoints persist between save files. So I'm just gonna hope and pray that this one has it set up and we're good. And if not, we're just gonna go back to that Air Reaver save and just go beat the game. I don't know what's happening with this game today. But that's Soul Reaver 2 for you in a nutshell. So we're gonna go ahead and do this again here. Oh boy. Now I have to recover this because I beefed it. So there should be a little invisible ledge here. I can get my breakout glitch on. Please. Totally. Smile. You can't see it, but I'm smiling with the widest grin possible at the game for it to let me do what I want to do. I'm basically trying to get a breakout, there we go, off of an invisible piece of geometry. It's really rough. There we go, okay. So that's fixed. We'll see if this death warp happens. Hopefully it does.
Would you like some words of encouragement?
That would be really appreciated in my time of need.
All right, well, have some courtesy of a Crispy Taco who sent in $25 saying, had to donate for Soul Reaver 2 and a great cause. Doing the LOK community proud, Jaxler. And,
thanks, Omi.
and 25 from Anonymous saying, let's go, Jaxler.
Thank you so much. We're going to continue from this file without the Fire Reaver because we're kind of cooked. The nice thing is that we don't even remotely need any of these Reavers to like perform the route. It's just about getting there, getting the Reaver, and leaving, essentially. So we're just gonna pretend like we have the Fire Reaver and don't worry about it, okay? So on the way back here, this tunnel we've been going through back and forth the entire time is completely drained of water. So we're gonna have to do this kind of time stop walk in order to get up to here. And then, weirdly enough, the tricky part is actually a jump I'm going to try to go for from this platform to the next. For some reason, this is oddly precise, because it's really easy to hit a piece of geometry that forces you into a slide that sends you all the way down. Nice, I got a quick breakout glitch right there, which is going to hopefully let me go for a really nasty strat in just a second. Just like that. Do a door jump just to get a little bit of fall speed. And now we're headed back towards the third bit through the Elder God. So, again, I apologize for things going off the rails, but I'm basically my goal with this, and kind of with any showcase of this game in the marathon, is just to kind of give you all an idea of what the game looks like at a top level. Because sometimes things like that will unpredictably happen, and there's just like no marathon valid way of recovering it, if that makes sense. That's okay. We're just going to be doing some standard movement through here, nothing you haven't seen already, so I don't know if we have any questions from chat or from yourself on the host mic, but...
Well, I've given up on asking questions at this point.
That's understandable.
We do have a lot of support from chat. They're behind you. They're enjoying the chaos.
I'm aware. Sorry. I had to make the joke.
Well, while we have a moment, I will check back in because we did cross another $25 for another Mecha Hitler, and we are sitting right now at $235, which means it does math on stream. 15 is all we need to get up to 12. No, that's not right. That can't be right. 10. Another $15 to killing a Mecha Hitler would get us to 10 Mecha Hitlers, and I would love to see that before the end of my host shift today.
That would be so awesome. If not to make me feel a bit better about what's been going on with this run. No, I'm kidding. I'm having a great time.
You're doing great.
This is the perfect show. This is the perfect showcase of how nonsense this video game is.
Yeah, the video essays did not prepare me for this.
They never do. Oh my good grief. Yeah, so pretending again like we have all the Reavers. Now that we have all the Reavers, all we need to do is just kind of get back to sort of where we started the game in the Seraphim Fortress and go defeat the final boss. You might be wondering who like the big bad is, what's going on with the story. I'm not going to tell you any of it, partially because I don't want to take that burden on personally, because it's a lot and too much. Oh, I might be slightly doomed. Nope, I undoomed it. Cool. I'm a little more at leisure to go for some floor zips here because they are recoverable, especially in this next section. I'll go for one because there is a water plane underneath that I can bail myself out on. I need someone to do breakout glitch off of. There's like these 3 bald ladies. Usually you want to use the 3rd one, but for some reason I was like, I'm gonna go talk to the 2nd one this time to be different. Let me see if I can show you all another floor zip and show you how like ridiculous the speed can get. So you need to be about like ribcage height like that. Oh, didn't quite get it. Yeah, we'll go for it another time. Why not? Who cares? The nice thing is that so many new strats got found when I submitted with this estimate that I am in no danger of going over estimate, even with everything that's happened. So that was a little bit of a baby floor surf, but that's fine. We're almost at the end of the run. We're almost free. This would have been a really, really dang good run if I didn't just completely kill all the momentum and jump. I broke the one rule I told you all. Never jump during time stop if you're doing a standard time stop. Getting a taste of my own medicine. But yeah, there's a bunch of like story cutscenes and like a ton of required fights you're supposed to do in this section, including one right here in this next room. And actually, again, you saw that area unload. When you're in time stop, these areas won't load in properly. So if you time stop in the wrong spot, you actually won't be able to proceed forward. And then these enemies aren't going to they're active enough that I can use them for breakout purposes, but they won't try to fight me. And that will be true of the rest of the enemies that you'll see, except for the final boss here. So now we are going to go ahead and talk to one of our best friends. That's not entirely a lie. It's complicated. You should play this game. And then one last time stop for the run, and then we're just going to jump and make our way to the final boss. So, because we're not supposed to have the Reaver in this state, which is going to make this boss fight way shorter than it's supposed to be casually. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit him 10 times, and then on the 10th hit, we call time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 time. And my friends, that is all Reavers. Sort of, totally, definitely not.
I'll allow it.
For Soul Reaver 2 Remastered. I have been Jaxler. I want to give a huge shout out to Power Up with Pride for allowing me to do this. Again, sorry it wasn't like a leaderboard submittable run, but I hope you all had as much fun as I did, because I love getting to blow people's minds with cool glitches. Huge shout out to the entire Legacy of Kain community. I mentioned like Taco, Nasterness, EODTex, Pyrociter Watts. And shout outs to anyone who is just like a fan of this game or has like hung out in my chat while I was learning it and playing it. This game, as well as the first, again, this is the remaster. You can get them on Steam. They're really, really good. You get both of them in one deal. Highly, highly recommend, especially the first game. The first game is like... I didn't play it when it came out. I came into it like a couple years ago, and it is like one of my favorite games now. So, if that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what will. Thank you all so much for donating and supporting Point of Pride. If you want to catch more of what I do, you can find me at twitch.tv/Jaxler1, where I stream speedruns of games that are kind of off the beaten paths, like this game and other stuff. So I'll also be on the host mic later on this weekend, so keep an eye out and see if you can spot me. I'll throw it back to Baracchio, and thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of the event, everybody. Happy Pride.
Before you go, we got one last donation for you. From our very own Corundum Core. $25 says, Bergie. Love you, Jaxler.
Hey! GG's. Thank you, Ruby. Happy Bergie's Miss. Is Pride, can we call Pride Bergie's Miss now? That would be kind of cool.
I'll send it to the committee.
Sounds good. Oh, good vibes. See you, everybody.
Oh, I am still... My head's still spinning a little bit from that. Oh man, he tried to warn me. He tried to warn me that this was going to be a run, and I did not listen. Alright, but there was, during that run, one donation that I missed from Windbliss, $22.31. Thank you very much. Says, Faye Kitsu has this to say. Trans rights! It's not just a saying, it's an undeniable fact. Happy Pride, everyone! And just in case anybody is Power Up with Pride 2026, our flagship summer event. If you missed any runs in the marathon so far, like that incredible, just a wonderful time of a Legacy of Kain 2 run, you can find them uploaded after the marathon on our YouTube channel. You can also stay up to date on this event and any future events by following us on Blue Sky or by joining our Discord. Links to all of these can be found in the panels below the stream or by using !social in the chat. Stay tuned for Ikaruga, normal 1cc attempt by Zello. That's right. Coming up in just a few minutes. All right, folks, I have some fantastic news. While I wasn't looking, we crossed $260 to the collective repeatable Defeat Mecha Hitler donation incentive, meaning we will see Amalgamane in Wolfenstein 3D kill 10 Mecha Hitlers. And that number's only going to go up. Again, that is 260. We have a little bit of space. It is only another 15 to get us to 11. And to check back in on our other donation incentives, we have Cats is still in the lead for the Final Fantasy IV? For the Final Fantasy IV free enterprise run. The Heart Song is between Cats and Bees. Cats has a commanding lead at the moment. But, you know, I've seen this community work magic. If somebody really wants bees, I believe there could be bees. But, if you're looking for something a little more neck and neck, the Zeroma Sprite donations have equalized. Arrogant is still in the lead, but only by $2.30 over Oafish. That is anybody's game. And that is going to be the next run after Ikaruga. That is our Final Fantasy XIV free enterprise, holding out for a hero category. Thrilled to learn what that means. Being run by Cubs Rule. Yeah, I'm trying really hard not to sing the lyrics to that because I know Twitch doesn't like that sometimes. But as a reminder, all of those donations are going to benefit Point of Pride. The money we raise will go to Point of Pride's various support programs, such as their HRT Access Fund, which is a scholarship-like program that provides direct financial assistance to trans folks who cannot afford their gender-affirming hormone replacement therapy, which is very relevant. I'm trying very hard not to be negative about this, but this kind of work is very important right now more than ever. And that's why I am so thrilled to be here. I love this event every single year. But if you would like to apply for one of Point of Pride's grant or garment programs, get involved as a donor or volunteer, or just learn more about them, you can visit pointofpride.org. All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends who are both armed gunships with philosophical inclinations who are neither, we are all set for Ikaruga by Zello.